Vietnam's northwestern mountainous region is home to many ethnic minorities and has the highest level of poverty, poorly educated, and having almost no decision-making choices in their families and communities. Women in these areas are unable to access the economic opportunities. To help address these challenges, the Australian government launched the project GREAT as part of the Australian Aus for Equality initiative to promote gender equality in Vietnam. The project is designed to provide local women in Western Mountainous region with the opportunity to participate more and more in value chain activities in agriculture and tourism, and to participate in decision-making on economic issues and play the leadership role. By promoting the development of a comprehensive market system with many components and with a collaborative effort with the private sector, the program will help increase the productivity of agriculture and tourism in these provinces, contributing to comprehensive economic growth and gender equality improvement.
Greetings from Trien Vietnam on VTC10 Netviet. In our program today, let's talk about the great project being implemented in the northwest region of Vietnam of the Australian Embassy. And the guest speaker in our program today is Mr. Bagulay, the Councillor of Economic and Development Corporation of the Embassy of Australia. So thank you for joining us. The first question, can you share with us about the purpose of the great program implemented in the northwest region of Vietnam?
Certainly, thank you very much for having me in your program today. So, is one of the centrepieces of Australia's aid program in Vietnam. It'll be focused on the northwest, as you've indicated, and particularly on the two provinces initially, Sun La and Lao Cai. At its heart, it's really about improving opportunities and women's empowerment in those two provinces, specifically focused on the sectors of agriculture and tourism. By the end of the program, we hope to have improved the livelihoods and incomes of some 40,000 women, create some 4,000 jobs for women in those two particular sectors. And we'd like to see an increase in the number of women-led businesses by some 15%, again in those two provinces and within those two sectors. Over a 4 or 5 year span, we hope that ultimately this will improve the socio-economic status of women in the northwest.
The project will work with many partners in the private and also the non-governmental sector. So what are the positive impacts of this cooperation?
So when you're working with something as difficult as women's economic empowerment, it's important that you are able to partner with a broad range of stakeholders. So in my experience in development, if you just target one particular actor or one group of people, you're not getting a system-wide or a behavioural change that's needed. These are difficult issues that we're dealing with, and so we need a variety of partners to be able to help us with this work. So by engaging the private sector, you're working directly with businesses, you're working with people who provide services and products to consumers and to communities. So this is at the very heart of our model. But to make those relationships work better, you also need to partner with the government and the public sector, because businesses operate within an environment of regulation, legislation, rules, and so we aim to help build the enabling environment around these areas and within which businesses operate. So working with public departments, government departments, is also really critical for our program. The third group really is tapping into the experience and knowledge of the non-government sector. So in the northwest, this means groups like the Women's Union and a range of non-government organisations, both international and domestic, who have long experience and track record working within the communities in these locations. For us, that's about being able to tap their knowledge of how to get things done, to build on the relationships that they already have with community leaders, and because they have a more instinctive understanding of the environment, as opposed to people who might fly in and fly out of those locations and who may have technical understanding of the issues but might not understand the cultural nuances or context of the area that they're working in.
So how will the management bodies and also the local authorities support this program?
As with any good development, what's one of the most critical factors is local ownership of the program. So our approach will adopt a structure that engages directly with the provincial people's committees. They're again at the heart of communities that we're going to be working in, and a very important part of the formal decision-making processes that happen within communities. So we'll have a steering committee structure that will have vice chairpersons from each PPC in each province will be standing members of that committee. We'll also have members of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and also our managing contractor, Co-Water Sojima, will also be part of the management structure. Then within each province we already have established what we call project management units.
Recently, the project RAID was officially kicked off in the provinces of Sơn La and Lào Cai and will be completed by the end of 2021 at a cost of 33.7 million Australian dollars, equivalent to 600 billion Vietnam dong. Lào Cai, a locality with advantages in agriculture and tourism, is ready to implement this objective despite many difficulties ahead.
Thu nhập mà trong cơ cấu kinh tế khoảng 15% là nông nghiệp, nhưng trong đó có trên 70% là nông dân. Thì trong đó thì tham gia trong sản nông nghiệp là chủ yếu là phụ nữ, và đặc biệt là phụ nữ dân tộc thiểu số. Trong thời gian qua thì có rất nhiều chương trình đã hỗ trợ cho tỉnh Lào Cai cũng như các tỉnh miền núi nói riêng để hỗ trợ cái việc cải thiện sinh kế và đảm bảo cái an sinh xã hội. Tuy nhiên thì cái việc hỗ trợ ở đây chỉ mang tính là hỗ trợ trực tiếp giải quyết xóa đói nhanh giảm nghèo, và kết quả cũng đã có những hiệu quả tích cực. Tuy nhiên để phát triển bền vững thì cái việc này vẫn đang là thách thức đối với nền nông nghiệp của tỉnh Lào Cai.
Tập trung vào cái đối tượng là phụ nữ, hưởng lợi phụ nữ dân tộc thiểu số thông qua cái tổ chức hội phụ nữ của cấp tỉnh, cấp huyện và các cái xã để phổ biến và tuyên truyền dự án. Mặt khác thì với cái cách tiếp cận của dự án đối với cách tiếp cận thị trường, tạo cái điều kiện việc làm, tăng thu nhập cho phụ nữ, thì chúng tôi cũng sử dụng cái hệ thống cái kênh là các cái dự kiến sẽ là các cái đối tác là các cái tổ chức đoàn thể, rồi đặc biệt là các cái doanh nghiệp ngoài nhà nước để mời gọi và khuyến khích họ đến với chúng tôi để nộp các cái đề xuất.
According to the data from the Ministry of Labour, Invalids and Social Affairs, the mountainous provinces of the Northwest, especially Sơn La, are still ranked first in the number of poor households. Women make up the majority of the population. They work in agriculture and still do not know how to develop sustainable livelihoods.
Có nhiều cái cuộc khảo sát điều tra ấy, thì cái thời gian là lao động của người phụ nữ vùng đồng bào dân tộc ấy, gần như là kín hết trong ngày. Họ không có thời gian để nghỉ ngơi. Thế và đồng với cái việc đấy thì lẽ ra thì cái tiếng nói của họ sẽ phải giá trị hơn trong xã hội. Thì ngược lại, họ ít có tiếng nói hơn trong xã hội. Chính từ những cái đó thì họ cũng cảm thấy là họ tự ti hơn. Và chúng tôi thì rất là hy vọng cái dự án này vào thì cái tiếng nói của phụ nữ, đặc biệt là phụ nữ đồng bào dân tộc của Mộc Châu, của Sơn La thì sẽ tốt hơn.
In agriculture, the project will focus on selected value chains, including spices, vegetables, tea, medicinal ingredients, and rice. In tourism, the focus of the project will be on community tourism, job creation, traditional handicraft, and integrated tourism. These are the strengths of these two provinces, but over time, they are still untapped potential.
Women in the northwest region of Vietnam are still facing many difficulties in developing livelihoods, despite the fact that in recent years there are many projects supporting them. So in your opinion, what are the reasons for this?
It's a difficult question. I think women's economic empowerment it's a very hard thing to influence and change, and it requires a sustained effort over many, many years. It also requires, importantly, behavioural shifts at community level. And in our experience, Behavioural shifts are things that take a lot of time and sustained effort. So we need to change the attitudes of how women are regarded within communities and within families. We need to empower women so they can take part more formally in the decision-making processes within communities. We need to create an environment where women can actually have confidence to lead their own businesses and to seek employment that's outside of the family unit. So we want to empower women to seek employment opportunities within the hospitality sector or set up their own businesses in tourism and agriculture that go beyond just maybe the farm or the household where they work. We also know that women often form a greater part of the consumer base for a lot of the products and value chains that we'll be focusing on. Often women are the ones responsible for buying food and daily household goods at the family unit. They may be the ones responsible for making sure their children are being educated, whether that be in the home or through the formal schooling system. So women bring with them a different perspective on how the business environment works. And we know globally, of course, that businesses that involve or have greater proportions of women's involvement or indeed leadership are often more profitable. Even with very big and complicated multinational businesses, the literature suggests that where you have a higher proportion of women membership of boards, you end up with companies that make greater profits because you have a broader perspective being offered into the business model and the business decisions that are being made by that company.
In your opinion, is vocational training and awareness raising a key factor in helping the women in these areas better understand the development of livelihoods in their own homeland?
Certainly vocational skills training and awareness is at a minimum, I think, what is required to help empower or improve women's economic empowerment. You do need a base level of skills to be able to participate in certain sectors, and we know in the tourism sector and in the agricultural sector, basic vocational education is required. That's a broad challenge in Vietnam. The vocational education system is very dislocated in many ways. And again, community and society values dictate that children should strive for a tertiary education as opposed to maybe pursuing a vocational education pathway. So yes, I think the answer to your question is yes, that's definitely required, but it's not all that's required. Awareness raising is certainly important. We need to make sure that women and children understand that vocational education opportunities are available and that it can lead to a meaningful career that produces a good income. So knowing what opportunities are available, even in geographically diverse areas such as we find in the mountainous northwest, need to be communicated to communities in the first instance.
Tourism and agricultural markets are well established in Sapa, Lào Cai. So in your opinion, should other areas in the northwest region of Vietnam learn from this model?
We hope so. We think that if the model works, the sectors can be interchanged and there's no reason why it couldn't work in a different sector in a different location. We acknowledge that the Northwest has a very diverse range of ethnic minorities and a very diverse range of geography and history. So it's important that our model isn't isolated to a specific set of conditions and a specific set of markets. In my experience though, when you get the principles right, when you get good community buy-in for what you're trying to achieve, and you have the partnerships and relationships well established.
Once again, thank you for joining us, and we wish all the best to the great program, and hopefully it will bring more and more benefits to the women in the northwest region of Vietnam. And that's all we have for this episode of Trien Vietnam today. For comment and feedback, don't hesitate to write to us at trienvietnam@netviettv.net. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.